The Crew 2. How exactly does racing work? Well, it works in the form of disciplines, my friends. Yes, hello, welcome back to the channel, fellas and fellettes, with some more coverage on The Crew 2, as promised. In the build-up to one of the most anticipated racing games of 2018, we're going to follow it all the way through with news, with coverage, information, and discussion. So, what I did was I hopped onto the UB website and got a little bit more information as to how things are going to work in this, the game's second outing. So here we go. Greetings petrol heads. The Crew 2 is all about total freedom to get to the pinnacle of the American motorsport scene your way. Cars, bikes, boats, planes, whatever. In the original Crew, we use specs to help you conquer all types of terrain. This time we're taking things a step further with the Crew 2's disciplines. Each one has its own feel, look and style, but more than that, disciplines are our way to allow you to scratch whichever motor fueled itch you may have. Sounds like an infection of some sort. Split across our 4 families: street racing, pro racing, off-road and freestyle. Disciplines all centre around specific types of vehicles and terrain and offer dedicated events, customization and more. Without further ado, let's get the ball rolling with one of the classics, Street Race. As many of you know, this adrenaline pumping discipline takes place on a mixture of narrow downtown lanes and faster traffic filled roads, typically of medium length. Street races focus more on quick reflexes, handling and control rather than hitting the highest speed. The environment is akin to a city maze with tight turns, traffic avoidance and obstacle dodging. And while navigation can be tricky, the goal of the street race discipline remains simple: to cross the finish line first. Shortcuts are a street racer's best friend and can clinch victory from defeat by giving you that extra seconds advantage. They come in many forms, be it narrow back alleys or ramps and rooftops, and each with different flavours to keep you on your toes. Scaling from high risk reward to easier and more obvious options, you'll typically find at least one shortcut in each race. With this in mind, the dev team has studied feedback from the community to ensure that both these and checkpoints are optimally positioned from a balancing perspective. Speaking of balancing, the AI difficulty has now been reworked to scale with your vehicle performance and progression level. So not only will you have to watch out for varying degrees of traffic density, you'll also need to keep an eye on other racers, whatever the stakes or setting. And yes, setting does matter, because you'll be racing through some of the most iconic locations in the US. Whether you're tearing through the sinuous back streets of Chinatown or heading along Vegas's world famous strip, you'll need your eyes on the prize and not the scenery. Right, the next discipline we've got is Alfa Grand Prix. We've all heard the old adage, practice makes perfect, but pro racers really live by it. Novice or champion, they're always searching for that perfect line, and in the Crew 2 there's no better embodiment of this mantra than Alfa Grand Prix. This discipline puts you behind the wheel of the fastest type of car in Motor Nation, a single-seater built to dominate the asphalt through pinpoint precision and breathtaking speed. As such, both pre-planning and reactivity are key to performing well. You'll need to know the layout of the circuit, every corner and straight line of which has been precisely engineered to pose a challenge, but you'll also need to keep your wits about you to deal with opponents at high speed. Different weather conditions will vary your experience on the same track. For instance, a rainy day requires heightened speed control through corners, whereas a dry track puts more emphasis on the accurate timing of your nitro boost. One thing will never change though: when all is said and done, whether you're racing on the East Coast or the West, only the very best will earn the laurels of the Alfa Grand Prix discipline. Moving on, rally raids. Of all our disciplines, one in particular allows you to head into the wild forests, mountains, deserts and swamps of this hugely varied American playground. Rally raid. Rally raids are off-road time attack events set in remote areas across the game world. The aim is simple: get from point A to point B as quickly as possible. Races are made up of a succession of checkpoints which eventually lead you to the finish line. How you get from one checkpoint to the next is entirely up to you. This is the real beauty of the rally raid discipline: freedom to carve your own path to glory through the landscape, weighing risk and reward in a split second while never taking your foot off the gas. Rally Raid's place in the off-road family is certainly no fluke. Every race location is as remote as it is unique, and you'll need to tackle a whole slew of different obstacles along the way, from cliffs and steep downhill segments in the Rockies to dense vegetation and labyrinth waterways in the southern bayou, and vast expanses and towering rock formations in the far west. It goes without saying that whatever the environment, you'll need the right tools for the job, tools equipped with four-wheel drive and a rock-solid undercarriage. You can expect to see beasts like the Ford F-150 Raptor truck and Proto Buggy A1 in the lineup, ready to take as many knocks as necessary to carry you across that finish line. And if you're feeling particularly brave, why not suit up and head into the wilderness on two-wheeled powerhouses like the KTM 450 Rally. Now, on the subject of bikes, that leads us on very nice and conveniently to our next discipline, motocross. Set in the countryside locations throughout the US, motocross will simultaneously challenge your bike handling skills both on the dirt and in the air. From the starting grid to the checkered flag, you'll have 3 laps to stay ahead of 7 other riders and try to cross the finish line first. But the difficulty doesn't just come from your competitors. The circuit itself can also make or break you. Every race combines unique track profiles and sharp bends to ensure it's never easy to shake your competitors. The harder the race, the narrower the track and the tighter the turns. And that's just when your wheels are on the ground, because it wouldn't be motocross without a healthy dose of jumps thrown into the mix as well. From classic singles, doubles and triples, through whoops to table and camel jumps, we can guarantee you'll get plenty of airtime. Be careful though. Airtime also means landing, and with dynamic weather that can affect your grip on already challenging terrain. You'll need to judge the optimum time to take your bike to the skies. That being said, once you're in the air, you can be sure that the view will be worth it. From the White Mountains of New Hampshire to the deserts of Nevada, locations are dressed to impress with breathtaking scenery and screenshot-worthy vistas. Right then, back on 4 wheels, back on the track, let's talk about drifting. Drifting was first popularized in Japan and over recent years has spread across the globe and captivated spectators and drivers alike, from grassroots events to international championships. In order to perform exceptionally well, you must remember these 4 points: speed, angle, line, and of course showmanship. While climbing the ladder to fame in the drift discipline, you will have to master sinuous roads, circuits and open areas as you precisely navigate your way through a series of challenging corners. Continuous drifting will generate points, and the longer you can maintain it, the more your multipliers will stack. As soon as your drift ends, so does the stacking. In certain events, directional panels will be placed along the track to provide you with a much more challenging experience. To keep things interesting, no one likes an easy ride, your multiplier will be cancelled if you hit them, and likewise for any environmental collisions. Collisions with other racers will be switched off, however, so the road itself remains yours to play with. And what a playground it is! With tracks in locations from Central Park to Desert Docklands, you'll be discovering the whole open world USA from a side-on view. And last but not least, we're going to jump into the sea, jump into the river with the jet sprint discipline. Leave asphalt and dirt roads behind with Freestyle Family's jet sprint discipline, and push your technical skills to the limit as you dash your way down rivers, lakes and waterways throughout the US. Each event will have you racing through a twisting series of channels in waters less than a meter deep. Obstacles will block your path to victory, so successfully maintaining your speed while navigating around them will be instrumental in crossing the finish line first. Luckily, short hulls and hundreds of horsepower make these boats the perfect vehicles for the job. If you find yourself falling behind the competition, attempt a crafty shortcut by using your momentum to slide across the riverbank. Just be sure not to miss the buoy checkpoint, or you'll end up at the back of the pack again. As your skills increase and you progress through the Crew 2, jet sprint races will intensify with steeper turns and narrower waterways. Practice makes perfect, so don't hesitate to blast through a few trial runs first. No one said reaching the #1 spot would be easy. Become the champion of Motor Nation will take time, dedication and drive. So that just about wraps things up for pretty much all of the disciplines so far. Obviously there are still going to be more announced and spoken about before the game is launched, research, most notably the ones related to aircraft, planes and in the sky. But I think the interesting thing to pick up from this is it seems to me that on the surface level, when you look at these disciplines, they look straightforward. Drifting, motocross, off-roading, etc. But when you read and dig deep down into the details of each description, you can see that each one requires a level of thought and a level of skill to carry out. Most notably the Alfa Grand Prix, where it talks about knowing when is the right time to initiate your nitro, the differences between doing it in the rain with the dynamic weather kicks in and not doing it in the rain. In the motocross event, talking about the optimum time to go for big jumps, risk versus reward, and how to think about your landing and stuff like that. And in relation to the street racing, what I was most impressed about was how they spoke about how they've actually tuned the AI to be smarter this time and to have the balancing and leveling more in tune to your actual current level as well, which is always good. It's great having different game modes, but it's those little intricacies that take those game modes from great ideas to great execution. Great job Ivory Tower so far. Hopefully when we get our hands on the game, all of this rings true and we can actually see these concepts come to fruition in the right way. The second thing I picked up was just how much they seem to be promoting the vastness of the open world itself, be it in different locations such as Central Park or Nevada, and at different heights as well, different altitudes. Yes, fundamentally it is still based in the United States as it was in the last game, but as I said before, the United States of America is a stupidly big country. It is insanely huge. Those of you that are American, I think sometimes you forget just how big your country is. It is a huge country. Compare that to the whole continent of Europe and it's not far off being the same size, if not even bigger. So I don't mind the game still being set in America because they did say that they're actually redesigning the whole map. It's going to be rejuvenated. It's going to have more height, it's going to have more buildings, it's not going to feel the same essentially. And me personally, I'm going to absolutely love getting inside an RX-7 and drifting around Chinatown. That's going to be fantastic. Anyway guys, as always, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Out of the disciplines that we went through, which is the one that you're most intrigued about? Which one did you find most impressive? Which one do you think is a little bit, nah, I could do without that? All comments are good, so let me know. Let's get this discussion talking. Let's get it moving rather. And as always, if it's your first time around here, I wish you a born welcome. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe and swing the damn hell out of the notification bell so you know when the next video drops. There will be more Crew 2 coming on the channel and I will be starting the playthrough of the Crew 1 shortly, so be sure to keep it locked for that. In the meantime, I will see you when the next video comes out. Take it easy, please.